והרוחות לחשו לי שאני לא לבד, ואת החזקת לי את היד אל השמיים, הבטחת שיום יבוא ועוד נשוב לכאן.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's wonderful to see everyone here. Welcome to the Strom Jewish Community Center. This is the Arts and Ideas stage today, or rather cooking demo. I'm Pamela Lavitt. I direct the Arts and Ideas programs here at the Seattle Jewish Film Festival. Before we get into business, I just want to tell you a little bit of a story. I'm curious to know how many people have been to the Eucalyptus restaurant before. Oh my gosh, we've got some fans in the room. That's fabulous. And how many folks bought their tickets a year ago? Okay, so I'm glad to hear that a lot of you did not. But I was in Israel a couple of summers ago and was at the Eucalyptus when I met the chef before it was published. We met, he was so charismatic, the food was incredible. It was a culmination of the most amazing 2 weeks that I had spent in Israel. And he said, oh, I have a cookbook coming out. And so we started this conversation. The book hadn't been finished yet. We were talking with his daughter who edited it, Michal, who is here as well, who is the marketing and events planner. And it is just so incredible to finally bring them here, especially for those of you that bought your tickets back in October. This event was canceled on October 14th for reasons that we all know, October 7th. The duress and the stress in Israel obviously was incredible. And also on the restaurant business, the chef will tell you more, but the restaurant was closed for 4 months. And that was really challenging and difficult. And things in Israel continue to be really challenging and difficult for tourism in Israel. And so it's really incredible to have them here today. It's that much more precious, their stories and what they have to share about what the restaurant has been through and what Israel has been through. But ultimately, we're here to talk about these incredible recipes and the things that the chef brings that nobody else, I think, brings of all these amazing chefs that we bring to our stage. So I hope you guys will get out of your shells and ask a lot of incredible questions, because this is a really special time and he is such a storyteller. You're going to learn about so many things, so please get your questions ready. I just want to tell you a little bit about the event tonight and how it's going to flow. We're going to have a demo for about 30 or 35 minutes. We're going to do a little banter. You can ask questions. And I also want to say there are people on the live stream. So hello, live streamers. We will also ask you to put in your questions in the chat, and we will ask them of the chef as well as we go along. Finally, I wanted to just say that we're going to also afterwards sell more cookbooks and do more signings if you want a personalization. The chef will be here afterwards. We'll do some Q&A after that. And then we have, ta-da, just amazing food coming at about 5 o'clock. So that'll be at the end of the 1-hour program. I also just want to take a moment to thank all the people that make an event like this possible. I want to thank the tech folks up in the booth, our live streamers, our sound engineers, my staff, the JCC staff, as well as all of the volunteers that you saw on the way in. Also, I really want to thank Karen Lieberman, who is our garden manager, and Benny. Raise your hands, wave them up high. They did, most of the centerpieces were from our garden in the Kesher Garden, and we have a special edition tonight, which is their very special pumpkin bread, which comes from garden pumpkins that were grown here at the JCC. So we're really excited to have you all here as a supplement. So thank you all so much. Finally, I just wanted to ask you to turn off your cell phones. No flash photography, but all these photos, we'll send them to you. So if you want to take photos with the chef, we'll give you a Dropbox link and you can download them. And you can also follow us on our Facebook page for Arts and Ideas. And now, I am so thrilled to finally welcome our special guest. Moshe Basson is an internationally renowned master chef specializing in Israeli biblical cuisine. He has received accolades as an ethnobotanist, expert in the Mediterranean diet, including specialty diets of veganism and Jainism, heritage and wild food activist, storyteller, food historian, folklorist, and restaurateur. So like I said, your questions will be answered. In 1986, after serving as an officer in the Israeli Defense Forces, working as a personnel manager in an international hotel, and founding a business growing exotic edible plants, Basson joined his brother who had taken their old family home and converted it into a home-style restaurant built around a eucalyptus tree that Moshe had planted as a child. This he transformed into the now famous Eucalyptus restaurant. Renowned for Moshe's Land of Israel cuisine, using ingredients mentioned in the Bible and collected from the surrounding Jerusalem hills. So for those of you who've been to the Eucalyptus, it is one of the most renowned restaurants in Israel. I kind of called it the Canlis of Jerusalem, but everyone has to go there. You can also watch the Netflix special, Stories of a Generation with Pope Francis, episode 4. Moshe is interviewed and featured in that. His efforts in renewing ancient foods have been applauded all over the globe. In fact, he received knighthood by the Italian government for these efforts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Michal and to Moshe for their persistence in 1 year later joining us. Please give Moshe Basson a huge round of applause and welcome him to the stage.
Shalom, and thank you for coming, and thank you, Pamela, for all these things. Don't believe her. I think that everything was already said. I don't have to talk. So I will go to the makluba, because we want it to be ready when we will be done. So I will start with the makluba, and then a bit more around. I'm starting with soaking a little bit the rice, but washing it. And always wash your rice. I'm going to teach you a secret. It's really from my mom. It's not, I haven't seen it in any book or any culture. I think that my mom invented it. And I need a volunteer. One that really had smell of onion on his fingers. So we can start with this, and then we'll go to the rest. So, this is a beautiful piece of onion. Just squeeze it between your fingers. Yeah, really. Like,
I just washed my hands, so I'm good.
So put it here. I'm not going to use it.
Okay.
And now, smell your fingers. Is it real onion?
Onion, definitely.
Okay, now do just like this. Okay. 1, 2, all the hand. While you're touching.
More. Okay.
Now smell your fingers.
Still smells a little like onion.
Because it didn't.
Oh.
Like this.
Okay. The trick.
No, all inside, like this.
Oh, yeah. More. Okay.
No, not too much. Check it now. You didn't touch the water before.
It's mostly gone.
Mostly?
Mostly. Well, you want to smell it? You see, it smells a little bit, right?
It smells like basmati rice.
Oh.
Let him smell it and check.
Okay. Am I done now? Yeah.
Thank you. Makluba, we call it also nahafochu, like the Purim miracle that turned over. Considered to be an old Iraqi dish It's mentioned in the book of El-Baghdadi. It's a sort of cookbook from the 11th century, written in Baghdad, of course, El-Baghdadi. And because people will claim that it is ours and this is ours, but this is originally old Iraqi recipe. And I'm starting in making a sort of isolation, and it will add also some taste in the bottom of the pot. Can you see it? There is a camera up. Oh, great. And this is going to be a vegan makluba, but when we do at the restaurant, it's mostly chicken one. So we don't want the chicken stuck too much to the bottom or burnt if we will forget it for a few minutes, it's enough. So the onion is our protector. And then I'm adding a little bit of tomatoes, skin side down, or you can do a cherry baby tomatoes. And this is mostly just for the color, really. Because we want our makluba tasty and beautiful. Like here. And then I will go, when it's chicken, the chicken will come here, or lamb, that already was cooked. Because we are preparing our broth, either from chicken, or here it was a vegetable broth. And you can come and smell it, and it smells really like chicken stock. And when you are making your broth, use always fennel, celery, some fresh bay leaves if you can. If not, come to the garden of Karen here and take some. She will not pay attention, maybe. And now I'm adding the fennel. All the vegetables, by the way, were sprayed with olive oil and then to very hot oven, to the maximum. So it will work like frying, without frying it really. So I will have the fennel down like pieces of chicken. And I will go then with potatoes in between. When I'm doing it with chicken, I will go first with the eggplant to close the holes between the chicken, and mushrooms that I was sauteing. You can do it also in the oven, but it's better to saute it with plenty of olive oil. Mushrooms, one of the mistakes that even some of the Italian pizzerias will do, it's just to cut and put seasoning on mushrooms, and they will go to the oven, and they will have this taste that you don't really like it. If you want tasty mushrooms, add salt, pepper, thyme, better fresh, and you have here plenty of fresh, and saute it a little bit. When it will soak all the taste, and it's something else. So in the same way, we are serving it as a salad. So mushroom going here under beneath, and I will keep the carrot that to decorate it all around. And now the cauliflower. Eggplant, I'm cutting it to small pieces because it's not the regular way that we are serving it today. And you want small portions, so I don't want you to struggle with the eggplant. But see how beautiful the eggplant became, and it's without frying. And I will keep here the rice water if someone wants to test and to check me again.
Moshe, can you tell us what the historical background is on makluba? Where is it from? What are its origins?
So, as I say, it's in Iraq. The Iraqi Jew will do something that almost the same, with not too much vegetables, and sometimes they will stuff the chicken inside, and they will make a sort of a chamin or tibit in Iraqi. This is the Iraqi cholent. So you see the carrot goes almost around, so we will get some decoration around here. So when you prepare everything, it's really a matter of 7 minutes and it's all ready. So this milky water, the water from washing the rice, will be something that you'll keep when you finish your work. Remember, rice will like triple or even more times its volume, so not too much. And this is our stock. I will use part, and you can later on come and if you want to taste or smell the stock. So it's almost boiling. Start to wet it all around. I will not add the liquid like this, because I want to water the rice all around.
Everyone give a big round of applause for Michal. Problem solver extraordinaire.
Michal is my boss. אולי זה לא מתאים. לא בדקנו.
Chef, can I ask you a question about, you're known for being part of the slow food movement. Is there something about what you're making right now that you would call slow food?
Yeah, because, slow food established in Italy by Carlo Peterini in Turin, or when they opened the first branch of McDonald's there. So fast food, slow food. And the idea was like fair, clean, and communities. Eating together, families, one of the goals of slow food. A regional, like in my restaurant, all the wines are Israeli wines. There is only one cava that is imported. All the rest is from Israel, and most of them from the region, from the Judean mountains. This one don't want to work. We will send it to the kitchen, and you have to believe me that we will put it on high fire, in the high flame in the beginning. It will start to boil, and then we will cover it and reduce the heat. And the quantity of the liquid should be like a finger, but I'm always saying, you know your rice, the rice that you are using at home. And act like there is no anything down, vegetables, chicken, or anything. So the level of the liquid should be as when you are making your rice at home. And so start high, then reduce, then cover, and reduce much more. And it could be ready in 40 minutes. But it's better when it takes 2 hours and more. And you can keep it also overnight on a very low heat, like oven on like 200 degrees, like the Shabbat plate that you're keeping food if you want. And if it's with chicken, you can eat the bones that will melt there. And the longer, the better in this dish. We have, I think, also the recipe of the Tibit, the Iraqi cholent in the book, where it will be different spices and more warm, sweet spices. We have here allspice. You know, allspice is one spice. It's berries that look like a big black pepper berries, but they are so perfumed that when I'm using even solo, just this, people will ask, you have cloves, you have cardamom. No, it's just this one. Even in Arabic, it's called bhar. Bharat is spices, so it's like not one, it's all the group. And I was using nutmeg, turmeric, very healthy. At home, I'm adding it to any food. I'm making eggs, shakshuka, even if it's not in my recipe, you can add it. And when it's combined with black pepper, it's increased the ability of our body to use it. So when I traveled here, I bought capsules of turmeric because I knew that I will be not able always to cook for myself like at home. And here we were using also saffron, and I want to tell you something about saffron. I'm watching chefs on TV that they will take the saffron and they will add boiling water on. When you add boiling water on saffron, you are murdering the saffron. Really. Saffron in cold water is the best. So you'll see that in a few minutes, and we can make even, just to show you, if I can get some boiling water and to show that it's not working really like that. So the Iraqi Tibet will not use turmeric, but we will add to these spices the nutmeg, black pepper, allspice. We will add cardamom and rose flowers. So the combination is sort of sweet, and you can smell it from far away, and you'll be detected to this really. And I'm using the same spices, for example, that without knowing, when I thought that I invented the stuffed figs, actually I was going to my mom's recipe of making the kuba potato. It's a sort of kuba in potato, mashed potato, it's with stuffed in these mashed potatoes and then deep fried or fried. And I took probably the spices, the idea of taking these spices to the stuffed figs. And we are doing it also in there is patties that called aruk. There is a beautiful photo with as a sandwich there. So again, these spices, Iraqi like these spices much more than others.
Just want to make sure my mic's on. When you talk about biblical cooking and spices, what's the connection between them? Because you're called a biblical chef, and that in many ways you're ethnobotany. So how do these spices connect to the biblical narrative of your recipes?
So I'm using all the 7 species from the Bible, Shivat Aminim also. That's wheat and barley, grapes for wine, figs, pomegranate, and dates. That's the 7 species. Hope that I didn't forget one of them. And then the spices, some of these spices are mentioned in Shir HaShirim, like cinnamon, or in the collection of the essence that they used to sacrifice, because you know that it was always slaughtering. There was 2 things that was exceptional. One is the solet belula beshemen. It's samolina mixed with spices and olive oil. And this was a vegan offer. But the Rambam, the Ben Maimon, saying that when the 3rd temple will be built, they will not going barbecue anymore. There will be only the golden altar when they will burn these spices on. So something that I like to make, especially for the camera at the restaurant, is to take what my guys will call secret powder, because we don't want the TV camera people to know what is the secret. And it's just cinnamon. And when you throw cinnamon on open fire, it will make something beautiful, good smells that will affect the food that you are cooking. And it will also give something to the sky's inhabitant. This is so all this, most of the spices are mentioned in the Bible. Like when we are calling the cake Shir HaShirim cake, the Song of Songs, it's because it's include apples that mentioned there, and the other spices that we are using that are in Shir HaShirim.
In terms of your recipe development in Israel, given that many of us in the room, I assume, are fans of Israeli and Mediterranean cooking, how does your cooking and your recipe development differ from what others are kind of thinking of as Israeli cooking right now?
No, I think that right now, all these young chefs that are known for the Israeli cooking, in a way doing this thing. They're not naming it biblical food. Like I have fight with my son, Ronnie, the young one, that's working with me, that even success in some. The book I wanted to write also biblical, and said, no, don't mention Bible, stay away from Bible and biblical. So these guys are doing. So I just got some boiling hot water. I want to show you that when I will add saffron here, it will turn yellow by the time, but if you smell this and smell this, you see the difference. So just after like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, then add it to the boiling broth or dish. So these chefs today, and I'm really, I'm proud, because what I start is something that in a way looks for some people bizarre. One of the food critic about the restaurant in '96, I think, was by a guy, I forgot his name, in Ma'ariv, that Sherry Ansky brought into the restaurant, and then she said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that he's going to write about its critic, because they came and said, we want something very small, just samples, because we are going to eat somewhere else. But from that day, I decide nothing like that. When they will say, we are going, give us something small, I say, okay, let the other place give them something small. I will feed them. Because I had in my kitchen the stuffed lamb and makluba and the beef with fava beans, and even with green almonds. And I honored their request, and I give them Jerusalem artichoke soup, mallow. Mallow in the Bible, it's called halamit, and it's like marshmallow. Not like the marshmallow, the plastic thing, but the plant, there is a plant, if you Google it, in English called marshmallow. Mallow, and one of the species called marshmallow. How it's connected to marshmallow is like 200 years ago, French physicians will take the sap of this plant, they call it la mauve in French, and they will beat it with sugar and put it on a stick as a medicine for the throat for children. And this was the startup of marshmallow. So if you ask French people what is ghee mauve, they will say marshmallow. This was the beginning. So using this mallow and other wild plants that are biblical, domestic, or all of you know what is frike. Frike. And the Hebrew name in the Bible of frike is Carmel, like the mount or the winery. And this is green smoked wheat that they will harvest it around the late spring, but before summer, before the harvest festival is Shavuot. And Lag BaOmer, bonfire, it's the result of this green wheat. Because they will harvest it green, they will throw it to the fire, they will separate the grains, and this movement in Arabic called frike, so in Arabic it's frike, and in Hebrew, the old name in the Bible is Carmel. It's always surrounding King David, but it's much earlier, mentioned plenty times in the Bible. So these chefs are doing when things that I start to tell you, and I forgot about the this guy, yes. So he wrote, Shel Moshe Basson will go down from the white horse of trying to make Israeli cuisine. There is no such an animal. So what we have here, we are not in Prigur, we are not in Tuscany. Nothing. You cannot say Israeli cuisine. 10 years later, or something like that, I was knighted by President Napolitano as Cavaliere della Repubblica for reviving the biblical and the Israeli cuisine. And two clients of mine that don't know each other in the same hour called me and said, do you have still the article? Send it to the guy. Tell him that they put you on the horse now for this. So Israeli chefs, very talented and well educated. I didn't went to any school. I wasn't trained by any chef. My mom, my grandma, mothers in the region. I belong to Chefs for Peace, so I have access also to a lot of mothers in the region. They are the best teachers, they are the best chefs. And these guys are using today these herbs and foraging also, and frike. And they were calling it frike, and I said, don't call it frike, it's carmel. And wild thyme, and in Israel they will call it timin. There is no such a word, not in Hebrew. In Hebrew it's called koranit. It's a beautiful old name in the Mishnah already. And it's this thing that became a staple, because once, 20, 30 years ago, it seems to be that it's a Swiss chef in one of the hotels asked the Iraqi or the Arab suppliers, I need timyan, that's the German name for this, and he was explaining, so what is it? And it's became the official name in Hebrew. They are naming restaurant on that, timin, timin, timin. It's not Hebrew, it's not in any language, this is time. And so this is a small example how it's developed from really this earthy, good thing that these chefs that they have talent and they have also knowledge. And now add to that these Israeli ingredients that are existing and they are wonderful. And this is what make Israeli cuisine really all around the world. It's not just in the States. Earlier it's in England and even in Germany and France. And so
this cookbook was actually published a year ago. And of course, the war really stymied your ability to get it out into the world. I'm curious a little bit about how the war has affected your restaurant, your creative process. Are there any discoveries? Are there any challenges that you're currently facing?
So before getting to this point, we have always to remember that we have more than 100 hostages still there. And it's not something that passing by me, not just because of the book or the business. My grandchild that just turned 12 last month, he's a redhead, Gingy. And the redheads, when they are little, especially babies, they all look like the same. And when I look on his photo on my phone, this is the screen that when I'm opening my phone, I cannot just think about him. When I'm taking a shower, and I will take my job twice at least a day, I'm thinking about these people, especially the girls, that I don't know when was the last time that they have the chance to take a shower or to wash themselves. So what I will tell about myself or my restaurant. It's comparing to this, it's nothing. But each, on my WhatsApp, one of the groups is restaurateurs and chefs from Israel. And we will ask for recommendation for techniques or foods, or now 3 times a day and sometimes more, the whole equipment of a restaurant for sale, for nothing. Oh, and nobody is buying it. We were closed for like 4 months, from the beginning of the war till somewhere in March that we reopened. It's not easy in a life of a restaurant. You have to pay your bills. You are watering the garden because you don't want it to die. Electricity is working, because if restaurant is closed and the ventilation system is not working, you enter there and it will be stinking. And especially we are in an old building of more than 120 years. So if you are not opening windows, so you must have someone coming every day. And it was under a risk also, because it was forbidden to open a restaurant and to be there even most of the time. So some of my colleagues were cooking for soldiers. I decided to cook for when they just opened the Missing People Center near Ben Gurion Airport. I just hear it on that they're telling people come to this center, and I told my partner, go there to check what is where I can park and if I have to bring with me a table, and I make makluba for them. And in 15 minutes, a pot, a real big one that we're serving at the restaurant, was finished like that. And next day I came with lentil soup, again makluba, and things like that. This was my way to struggle with this situation that was not something that's normal, and you think about what to do. And then there was the time that everyone will say, close the restaurant, Moshe. My young son, my accountant, that will say, Moshe, you are losing every month between 70,000 to 100,000. In a year, you will make more than $1 million. Where are you going to pay it? You already burnt your pension in other operations, and intifada and so, and now you have something small, close the restaurant. And I told my son, Ronnie, the restaurant is in your age. My restaurant is 37 years. It's not something that you are pushing a button and say, close it. Even to talk about this, it's not. And from the other side, I understand very, very well that I cannot spend this money that I don't have. For example, just municipality tax, I don't know if you have it here. There is a municipality tax called Arnona. We are paying $20,000 a month. The restaurant was closed 4 months. $80,000 you have to pay. But I'm a great believer. I'm sure, I know, I have experienced bad days, not like this, but we will pass it. We are saying, עברנו את פרעה, we passed Pharaoh, we'll pass also this. And come to Jerusalem immediately when you can. I don't pushing you and going and saying, go now. I understand you. But in the moment that it will be really secure, please tell your friend, other communities, and what was keeping us in a way above the water in this year was the solidarity missions that arrived at the restaurant. Time to makluba?
While we're getting the makluba up here for this last part of this demo, impressive. I wanted to ask, so you mentioned that you were part of the Chefs for Peace organization. We showed a film at the film festival years ago, I don't know if anyone saw it, called Breaking Bread. It was Israeli and Palestinian chefs who cooked together. What can you tell us about that peace work, Moshe? And how do you feel about that work now?
It's a very hard question. Chefs for Peace were Israelis, Palestinian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, that showing that with big, sharp knives, you can do good things. And we will try to bring children from both sides together to be part of this. We were trying even to fundraising money to open a school, a culinary school for Chefs for Peace. The 7th of October, the 7th of October, make it upside down, but not in a good way. And I'm personally very, very confused. I'm still there in the group. I'm not really very happy from what's happening there. And but it's a sort of crisis. It's like my personal crisis in this case. But this is the crisis that we are all experiencing now, not only in Israel. Something was broken between the different groups, and it's not good. But yet, I believe, even when I don't want, sometimes it's so hurting that I don't want. But I know that the only solution for people everywhere, but especially to small country like Israel in the Middle East, when it's really surrounded in Arab countries, so you can say surrounded with enemies, or you can say surrounded with Arab Muslim countries, and it's make big difference. And if you want to live and to exist, we must have peace. Because peace is security. In the Bible, most of the time, when they're talking about utopia, they will say shalom. They're not saying security, because if you have peace, you have security. So I believe, now it's with hard feelings also, but I believe and I know that our future in the Middle East is peace. So now I'm in a low and hard point in my life in this. These guys, when they are sending good Sunday, Shabbat Shalom, they're saying, you are like my aunt, and her friends sending, we have to talk about what's going. It wasn't something that was just a pigeon that was flying around. Something happened here in 7th of October, and we, as Chefs for Peace, we have to deal with this. I hope that like makluba, that means upside down, turning over, and the miracle of Purim, the nahafochu, the situation that now I'm personally experiencing, not in a good place, will turn over. So let's make the ceremony of the makluba. Who is going to turn the makluba today?
Oh my goodness, wow. Maybe should we see if there is a volunteer who wants to be part of the Let's take 2 volunteers to be part of the makluba ceremony.
There's
Okay.
one that already did it once.
That was eagerness. Come on up, you guys. And Moshe, will you also tell us, in addition to the makluba, we also have fatayer. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is? And in a moment after the ceremony, we will invite people to come and sample some of those as well. And we can continue the Q&A. Do folks have questions? Because we want to do a little bit of Q&A. But first, the makluba ceremony.
So the makluba ceremony was done by President Peres, Jason Alexander, George Costanza, your Vice President, Kamala Harris, was doing it at the Eucalyptus. You can see it on my Instagram page. And a real big gallery. And every bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah girl, and this girl, when she was bat mitzvah, you did it at my restaurant, the makluba ceremony, so. So we will need your help counting with us. Let's count for peace this time. From 1 to 7, when I will tell you 7 times. And remember, I have 2 volunteers already here, but I will need 1 more volunteer to wash the dishes. It will be the one that I cannot hear him counting from all his heart. Now you know that you should do it. There is a good reason for this. So this is the makluba. And at the restaurant, we will do always like this. It's your last chance to disappear.
Margot, it's official. Chef Margot.
And you'll tie it as it's convenient to you. And I need you here. So it's hot, don't touch it. When they will count for you, both of you make 7 circles above with your hand. Like this, 7 only, a good wish. Then we will lift it together. So I want you here. Okay. So are you ready?
We're ready.
Can I get 1?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Shiva.
7. So the biggest wish, you already heard me saying it. And it's in all our hearts. And the rest is Am Yisrael Chai and Shalom al Israel. Hold the handles with me. I'm going to lift, and then I will turn it back to me. Lift with me. Up.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that looks
Hallelujah.
amazing.
The The more still is the best part. This I'm keeping for myself. Here, where is the camera? But you can see it like this.
Wow, incredible. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
so much.
תודה, כל
Let's
הכבוד.
give a big round of applause for the makluba.
At your restaurant.
Yeah, I remember your face. I'll take the apron. And I want you also to come to compare the two photos from last time and now.
Can you tell us a little also about the fataya and what is it that we're about to sample?
The fataya is using different herbs, in this case spinach, but you can use mallow that I mentioned before, or halamit in the Bible. And who is taking our photo? What's going here? Smile. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We have one question, Moshe, from online. They're asking for you to repeat the 7 spices. If you could
Okay.
repeat that. And then if you have questions, let's bring a little bit of light into the theater. And please feel, oh, I like this young chef coming on up here. You are brave and awesome.
Hold one hand here. Smile to your camera. over there. Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have questions other than 7 spices? Can you repeat what
7
the
species
species?
is wheat and barley from the earth, then as it's written, grapes for wine, olives for olive oil, figs, pomegranate, and dates, tamar, or it's also mentioned as honey.
Wow. Do we have other questions from the audience? Yes, go ahead. My rabbi's here.
I got culinary question, but very much appreciate all the work you're doing and you're done. And you had mentioned earlier that we were going to use the rice, we'll have the rice water to save. Do you use it for anything?
I'm going to repeat the question so those on the live stream can hear it. Do you use the rice water and do you save it and to use it for something? Culinary question.
No, I'm not using it for. It's a culinary way to use it because you don't want to serve food when your fingers are stinking from onion or other things. So it's a culinary use. This is the only. But yes, you can water it, your orchids and other plant, and it's.
Hannah.
By the way, pomegranate. There is 630 seeds, but there is people here. I saw some big cameras, and Chazal. You know who is Chazal? The sages that wrote the Talmud, and they will say that if you want to see 1/8 of the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan, that was so beautiful, you have to take a wine glass to fill full it with pomegranate seeds, to decorate it with rose petals, and this is Chazal, put it between light, sunlight, and shade. And the glow that we'll get from this is 1/8 of the beauty of Rabbi Yochanan.
I have one question over here and then over here.
I may have missed it, but did you talk about how you use the spices in that dish?
Did you talk about how you use the spices in the makluba?
Okay. In the makluba particularly, I'm not using it like in the Indian way of roasting them, that it's very good way. But when I'm making the broth, if it's the vegan one, or I will describe it with the chicken, I will start sauteing the onion, and before that turning to golden, when they're still sort of yellow, I will add the chicken, and immediately I will add the turmeric and black pepper. Then I will add, because I like, even if it's not in the recipe, thyme, fresh thyme. And I will let it, with the oil, a little bit oil, to get into the chicken and the onion. And just then I will add always, the best way to use nutmeg is to buy them whole nutmeg. And in the minute or before using them, just grate them. Because when you buy spices that you are not using frequently, like nutmeg, after a short while, it will lose the aroma, and so you can either use keep it in refrigerator or freezer, but the best way is to use it fresh. And so I'm using then the allspice and the nutmeg, and then I will add the water, just plain water. We don't have to use chicken broth or, but in this I will add celery stumps and carrot, some bay leaves, and it's with the chicken it will give the taste. When it's without chicken, I will saute the onion and the leeks, and I will add to that mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, but I can add also sometimes dried mushroom that I will soak in water before, and then I will add the spices before adding water.
Hannah, if you go onto the Instagram site also for the Arts and Ideas, we took some photos of these pots with their flavors just pouring out of them. So have a look there. It was the most beautiful broth I've ever seen. Question for you here and then in the back.
What's the most popular dish at your restaurant?
What's the most popular dish at your restaurant?
Today it's easy because it's all computers and you push and you get the result. So it's not what I was always just thinking. So there is a competition between makluba and the neck of lamb that is cooked overnight. For myself, I like to combine them.
Beautiful. In the back, one, and then next back there.
A question, Chef, you called maklube the hamim, the Iraqi hamim, correct?
He called makluba the Iraqi
No,
hamim.
the Iraqi hamim called tibit, it's different from the makluba. You can cook the makluba also as hamim overnight, but the Iraqi, you know, all the chulent in all the Jewish world, if it's in Yemen, Morocco, Germany, or they will use always beans. The only people that are not using beans in their chulent is the Iraqi. Never beans in Shabbat. So the other one is like you stuff the chicken with rice, spices, and also meat inside. And you put also rice around, but with tomatoes, chopped tomatoes. And so you have two sort of rice, the rice that are inside the stuffing and the outside.
Yeah, so my question is, I was a bit surprised when you labeled it as a hamim or chulant, because for me, chicken is not fatty enough meat. So I'm Moroccan and I do dafina. If I put chicken, my mother calls it hay because it doesn't have enough fat and moisture to withstand 24 hours. So in this case, do you imagine maklube with beef instead?
So the question in short for those on the live stream is that the Moroccan version chicken was too thin a meat. It didn't have enough fat in it, so her mother didn't use it. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm just worried
24 hours cooking like a cholent.
There is, in a way, there is enough fat when you are, especially if you frying the vegetables and all together. But you know that, especially in Iraq, and I didn't check it well in other cultures, chicken was the expensive meat. Lamb was the popular meat, and beef, but the expensive meat was chicken. So for Shabbat, they will make, but they will make also chamin with lamb, of course, and they will take lamb breast, the brisket, and they will stuff between the bones, the short ribs, and the, it's not a skin, but you know, they will stuff this and
So we have one last question back here, and I just want to say before we take it, there is, I forgot to mention, I wanted to thank Shalom Teas from Tacoma, who you probably enjoyed some of their iced tea, hopefully, and will continue to serve it. I also wanted to invite everyone on November 24th. We have an exhibit. Maybe you can, we won't catch it because we're going to be exiting out through this way out of the JCC. But please come back in the J Cafe. We have an exhibit, Yeledim Yotzarim, which is children creating. This is art therapy after October 7th. Israel's teachers have brought their artwork here to our JCC, and you can see the full exhibit on November 24th. It will be in this auditorium, so please come, and it's amazing, from Ashkelon to Galilee, from Kfir Aza, and other kibbutzim in the Gaza border, so please come and check out all the amazing artwork by children. Finally, final question in the back, and then everyone, please schmooze, get together, talk with Moshe. He'll be sitting here signing books, and come on up and grab some bread and pumpkin in just a moment. Last question in the back.
Yeah. Before I ask a question, what was it? The Kochini Jews actually do not use any beans in their cuisine. They use rice.
Will you repeat the question?
I said that
Oh, I meant Moshe, so people can hear.
the Jews from Kochini, India, do not use beans in their cuisine.
Jews from India, do they use beans in this? They don't. Got it. Thank you for clarifying.
You know, I don't know exactly about cuisine, but my family, you know, the Iraqi Jew, and all of us, by the way, were taken from Judea and Jerusalem to Babylonia. And the Iraqi Jew stayed there, but the center, home was in Babylonia, Baghdad mostly. And they will come and go to Shanghai. My family used to have a branch in Bombay. Italy, we have a small town honoring a rabbi from the family, Basson, near Verona and the airport of Villafranca. And I was cooking with a chef from Kerala on Zoom. He was in Bombay, and there was, in a way, there was some similarity between the Iraqi and the Cochin food. So I'm sure that this is the people that...
There are the Baghdadi Jews in Calcutta. I'm half Kochini Jew, and I make kubet, beef kubet, but it's a bit different than the Iraqi, but it came there because of the Iraqi Jews.
I want to hand this man a microphone because I'd love people to hear about it. So we're going to just, if you could repeat that.
So, you know, I want to tell you a story. When I was like, I think 6, when my grandma was living in this, when they arrived to Israel, they were in tent in Rehovot. In Jerusalem, we were in these aluminum shacks. Very thin aluminum, small shack, like 9 feet, the width, 12, 13, Electricity wasn't even in our dreams, but we were dreamers. But my grandma was in Rehovot in a tent. A few years later, they got luxury. They got this wooden shack. And one day, there was this ladies or family that arrived from India. And they were, my mom said that I was a child, I didn't understand that they are the cousins. I thought that they are her aunts. And I remember it very well because I got such a present from them. I don't remember what was it. But my sister, younger than me, she got diamonds from them because she got these combs with glass diamonds. And for me, it was, she got diamonds, I got nothing. But for me, it was, this is the aunts of my mom. She's very bright with blue eyes. And these people that came from India, her aunts, were dark. And I was like, if you go for a few years to India, you'll come back. Don't go to India. So this is my personal connection. And we really, in a way, we lost connection with this part of the family. And maybe it's time to post it on Instagram, Facebook, and with your help, maybe we are these relatives.
So do you want me to repeat it first or ask the question?
I think we're good, but you.
So my question
your heritage,
actually
yeah.
relates to all of this. It has to do with cultural appropriation. As a chef, it annoys me to hear cultural appropriation when it comes to food. A lot of food around the world is cultural appropriation. I was wondering, what is your opinion about it, especially about, with cancel culture nowadays and stuff like that, especially in a place like Israel, where it's the diaspora, everyone comes from all over the world. Yeah. My family is Persian and Indian, but I grew up, my mom would make Yemenite food and Moroccan food. I grew up on everything. When I make something and someone tells me, you can't make it, it's not yours. The Mexican make El Pastor, it's shawarma. It's Lebanese immigrants that moved there. So I was just wondering, what's your opinion as a chef about the entire thing of cultural appropriation when it comes to food?
And I'm also just going to add to this, and this will be the last question, is besides that question, which was a great question, thank you, is also you consult with others about their menus also, and how do you navigate that question?
Okay, lucky me that I wasn't trained by a chef or in school, because in school they will say you cannot mix this and this. And I was always free to mix and to take other kitchens. There is a dish in Gria using tamarind. Maybe you know the termination imli. Tamarindo, start in India. It's arrived in Israel like 3,000 years ago on the camel caravans with the cinnamon, black pepper, ginger, and the rest. The tamarind grows on a very big shady tree, and it's pods like fava beans or like carob, but a fat carob. The traditional way to ship it, these wise people in the East, they will protect their condiment so nobody can copy it. So they will roast the black pepper, they will dry and ground the cinnamon is like, it's just the skin, the peel. The turmeric or the ginger, and they will break the seeds of the tamarind, so it looks like block of dates. It's arrived in Israel on the camel caravans. It's looked to the Israelite like dates. And they know the dates from Jericho, the dates from Shivat Aminim, the 7 species that called also honey. This was sour. So they name it definition, if you are talking about. Dates from India. Tamar, Hindi. It's become tamarind, tamaran. It goes wild in Mexico, they will call it tamarindo. This is Hebrew. So, you know, I was, yes, especially after the 7th of October, this question in the Middle East was Michael Solomonov was accused, and me, you are stealing the food from the Palestinian. So I was born in Iraq. I belong to this region, and this region is not just Israel or Iraq, it's all this region of the Middle East. That there is no borders in nature of this area. And people using almost the same foods in different variation, like you go and check in your family, one auntie will make the curry in this way, and the other will make it completely different, and it's the same family, it's the same recipe, the same name. So I think that I belong to this region, and the region belongs to me. And when I'm making these foods, especially when I find also the connection to all traditions and to the Bible, I don't have any, I'm not confused. I'm making what naturally I will do.
I think that's a beautiful place to end. Thank you so much. Big round of applause to Michal, to Chef Basson,